I am Cherie with RVMobileInternet.com, and this morning I'm going to share with you some new information about a new plan Verizon stunned us all with last night on a Sunday evening, announcing that they are bringing unlimited data back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what this plan is and how it applies to those of us that are seeking a home internet replacement, like RVers and rural customers. So first of all, Verizon's plans, these new plans do require that they have a smartphone on the line. So the primary line does need to be a smartphone. So iPhones, Androids, any Verizon compatible 4G device. The plans include unlimited talk, text, and on-device data, all at 4G speeds. And the plan does include 10 gigabytes of high-speed mobile hotspot use or tethering, and that's what you would use to get laptops and other devices online by using a personal Wi-Fi hotspot or direct plugging in a cable. After you use your 10 gigabytes of usage, it is slowed down to 3 gigabytes. Now for a smartphone plan, it is the best on the market. It is a great reaction to T-Mobile, Sprint, and AT&T's current unlimited data options. It is a fantastic unlimited data plan for a smartphone for nationwide coverage. But for those of us that are looking for an unlimited data plan or a high gigabyte data plan to keep our households online, for whether we're working, we're homeschooling, or we're just trying to do a lot of stuff online like managing OS updates on our computers, this is not the plan that's probably going to meet that need for a lot of us. 10 gigabytes is not a lot of data. For a lot of us, that might be a weekly or even a daily usage for some households. So the old grandfathered unlimited data plans that Verizon discontinued back in 2011 that a lot of us have been using, we either did an AOL, assumption of liability, or we rent them from data providers that they might find on eBay or other places. Those plans right now do not have any of these limitations. You can continue to use them at full speed. They're not throttled. There's no network management or any of these other caveats. So some important things to remember on this new unlimited data plan from Verizon is that it is also subject to something that's brand new to the Verizon network, and that's network management. All of the other carriers currently do this on their unlimited data plans. But what does it mean? What does it actually mean to those of us using data? So if you use over 22 gigabytes of data in a month, and that could be through mobile hotspot, that could be through streaming video on the device, or just general surfing and apps and playing Pokemon, you can be subject to something called network management. And what this is it's not direct throttling. Throttling is when the carrier just cuts your speed down to a certain limit once you hit a data cap, and it's always at that limit. Network management is different. It is only when you're on a congested tower or a tower that a lot of people are using a lot of data on at the same time. This could happen during peak times, like if you're in a large RV park and a lot of people come home after a day of exploring and they all get online and they start Skyping with their family back home. A lot of data is being used at that time. You're on one of those congested towers, the carrier reserves the right to deprioritize the usage of those who have already used over 22 gigabytes in that month. You may never experience it if you're on an uncongested tower or you're not surfing at peak times. So it remains to be seen exactly how this will play out for Verizon. It is brand new to their network. We don't get a lot of complaints on it on other carriers and how they manage their data. You might have an hour or two in the evening where you've got slower speeds, and it's not necessarily going to go down to a certain speed limit. It's going to vary depending upon what the carrier needs to do to manage their data. The other thing with this new plan is it does include unlimited high-definition video streaming, which none of the other carriers are offering except for T-Mobile with their T-Mobile One Plus, but that one requires that you redeem a day pass to get the high definition. With the Verizon Unlimited Data Plan, it is unlimited video streaming, but that is on device only. You're not going to be able to use a mobile hotspot and get that unlimited video streaming, but if you want to see one of our other videos, you can use an HDMI cable out for many smartphones and be able to get it up onto a larger screen that's still on-device streaming, and it's just kind of mirroring through the cable. Another caveat with this plan is Verizon has never put limitations on domestic roaming. This is when they're on a partnered network, and they have announced with this plan in the fine print that domestic roaming will now be at 2G slower speeds. Verizon doesn't have as much roaming as the other carriers, so it may not be that big of a deal in the long run. It remains to be seen how they're going to handle some of their extended LTE partners that they have on their coverage map, if those are going to be subject or not. So we will be watching that closely. So there's been also a lot of questions about what about mobile hotspots. So these are a smartphone plan. You're going to be paying $80 a month for a single line with their auto pay discount. If you're having multiple lines, it's $110 minus an auto pay discount of $100, and then the line access fees are $20 per line that you want to add on to that. So that applies to smartphones, tablets, and the MiFi Jetpacks. However, each of those lines will be subject to the 10 gigabyte mobile hotspot limit for high speed and then reduced to 3G speeds afterwards. Another important thing to know is when they say reduced to 3G speeds, that does not mean switched to their 3G network, which they are kind of discontinuing over the next couple of years. It just means you're going to go down to a slower speed, and they have not said what exactly that speed is going to be. It's just they're using a shorthand of 3G speed, so speeds equivalent to their 3G network. I think that wraps it up. Hopefully that gives you some information to make some informed decisions on this. We are actively tracking this over at the RV Mobile Internet Resource Center. We have our main article up. It will be continued to be updated as we have more information. And we do have a guide to those grandfathered unlimited data plans and how to go about getting those if you are looking for a Verizon option with truly unlimited data. Just know those plans, Verizon has been actively shutting them down in the last few months in preparation probably for this new plan. So we are tracking this closely, and we'll update with any news that we have.